I have a feeling that your notes are actually a lot better than mine.
I have, let me see. I have 8 pages of notes.
This is how long my notes are, and it was literally just my thoughts as the scene was
mine
happening.
have spaces. Like between the lines, there's like a space. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine.
Right.
Also, the very beginning of it, I was doing it in like audio typing. You know how you can like talk?
Like text to speech?
Yeah.
Ah.
What did I say?
Audio typing?
Oh, I mean, yeah, it's the same thing.
Sure.
I mean, it's practically the same thing.
Audio typing.
I'm B.
I'm Smage,
Welcome to Cinemuck,
where we talk all things cinema.
and all things muck. Today, we're talking about M. Night Shyamalan's newest release, Old.
Newest release, Old.
Newest released Old.
I like it.
I think we should start off with general remarks and also a disclaimer that we will be going into spoilers because we're just going to be summarizing the movie essentially. Okay.
With our thoughts sprinkled in between.
I think the first thing that I do want to say though is that this movie kind of felt like an M. Night Shyamalan movie, but if Christopher Nolan tried to pretend to be M. Night Shyamalan.
That is so funny that you say that.
Does that make sense?
I literally have a note in here when Jaren was talking about like space-time.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
I wrote, I like Jaren's thinking him and Christopher Nolan would be excellent friends.
Exactly.
Because it literally felt like...
Because they went into conversations about like physics and time and math and all that stuff. And I was like, this...
Feels like Christopher
literally
Nolan,
feels like Christopher Nolan
wanting to be M. Night Shyamalan.
I wonder if M. Night Shyamalan like saw what is his last one that he just did? Tenet, and was just like, I could do this better.
I can make it horror as well.
I can make it horror.
Was this even horror? What is this considered?
I think it's considered. I think all M. Night Shyamalan movies are supposed to be considered horror, but they're more like psychological thriller. In my opinion. Anyways,
makes sense.
Old.
We essentially start off with following a family. Father Guy, Mother Priska.
The father's name is Guy.
His name is Guy.
You can't just say Father Guy.
Father
that sounds
Guy.
like some fucking Mormon stuff. Father dude.
Father man.
We're following a family. They're going to this resort. Like you said, the father's name is Guy. The mother's name is Priska. They have 2 children.
Yeah.
A young son who is 6 named Trent.
Yeah.
And then a daughter who's 10 named Maddox. They're at a resort that were kind of detailed was given as like promotional with the mother's pharmaceutical receipt. Like she got like a survey about it. And then she just started getting information about it. And then she was just like, oh, I'm going to go to this.
All inclusive.
Yeah.
Kind of like sweepstakes.
Well, and it was being done by, or it was like highlighted or advertised through a specific pharmaceutical company that she gets her drugs from for whatever she has. Wink, wink. Obviously, because it's a Shyamalan movie, you're supposed to kind of look at every single detail that they talk about. One being that the mother specifically tells the daughter, I cannot wait until you get older so I can hear you sing in the car.
I was going to say, in my notes, I pointed out that like so many, at the very beginning, so many instances of like talking about time, getting older, being like when they mentioned, oh my god, you guys are so big, like the kids. Yeah. So much of that is happening at the very beginning. And I'm just like,
I get it. But like, okay,
moving on.
Anyways, so they arrive at the resort, and I have in my notes, the super ripped waitress gave them special drinks, suspicious. So she greets them with these drinks that was suited to their taste best because of a survey that they give. So immediately you're suspicious.
That's so funny. I actually didn't catch that.
Really?
Yeah, I did not. That went right past me.
Yeah.
My mind immediately went to, oh no, the dad's going to try and sleep with the cocktail waitress because his bitch of a wife doesn't pay attention to him.
Are you okay?
Well, you can obviously read that the two of them are having some kind of tension.
Oh yeah, they have some sort of marital
issue. He mentions that, oh, is it work again when they're on the bus? And I'm thinking, oh, she's busy with work. He doesn't feel appreciated. Here's this beautiful blonde woman.
I went the completely opposite direction where he is desperately vying for her attention and she's off somewhere else, and I thought that I was like, oh, she's having an affair.
Damn,
bro.
Wow.
We genuinely share one brain cell. So yeah, they do that, and then we're kind of introduced to the kids, Trent and Maddox. Trent is obviously on the spectrum in some way. He has very eccentric tendencies. He has really good memory, all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't have the same kind of, like, social cues.
I was going to say, he also lacks very basic social cues for someone who is 6 and
Right.
definitely already been like introduced to
Yeah.
society in
Yeah.
a way of like either daycare or school or something.
And I really like Maddox. I really like that they introduced those two kids as not being like, they weren't assholes towards each other.
No, they love each
actually,
other.
They actually like each other.
Yeah, they love each other very much.
And I was just like, oh, that's really sweet.
It's nice to see.
Like, you never see that type of interaction between two siblings where there is a clear, like, age gap.
Yeah, but
Because they're not,
also,
like, similar in age.
no, they're like 4 or 5 years apart.
Yeah.
From one another.
So it was really nice to see them actually be sweet with one another. But
yeah, and like Maddox actually care about her little brother.
Yeah.
and him being like, "This is fine.
Yeah.
Like, I love you. Thank you."
So they're kind of like also getting their own refreshments and stuff like that. And that's where we're introduced to the property manager's nephew, the little kid with the bangs. His name is Idlib. He
Yes.
like lives at the resort, and I think his uncle is the property manager.
Yes, is from what I understand.
That's how he introduces himself.
Yes, Idlib and Trent grow a friendship quickly.
Yeah, I
They
mean,
get along
because they're
very
the
well.
same age.
Yeah,
like,
same age.
It's that same type of just like where you go up to a kid at a playground and you're just like, hey, what's your favorite color? And they say red, and your favorite color is also red.
I think
and you're-
also it was nice to see like Idlib not so much feed into, but very much be fine with Trent's eccentricity.
it was nice to see the kids be kids.
Kids be kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we follow them into the rest of the resort. They're shown to their rooms. We're kind of introduced a little bit more to the parents, and we're getting this weird thing from the dad where he knows very specific statistics about accidents.
That shit freaked me out.
That shit freaked me
I'm not gonna,
out.
what did I put on here? I wrote, "Yes, father, hit us with useless facts."
I just wrote he has something to do with math as a profession. I'm assuming he's in insurance.
You are so much more observant about that kind of shit. Here was my takeaway. Too many big ass windows looking into all of the house.
What I didn't understand is like, why do people not like curtains?
Why does nobody like curtains?
Why does no one like
Why does nobody
curtains?
like drawstring shades?
Like that was
Why do we need big ass windows?
that was a tropical island. Get bamboo shades. You know
Not
what I
that hard.
mean?
Not that
it
hard.
keeps a warm tone.
Yep.
It gives you privacy.
more so just for the bedroom. I don't care about the rest of the house.
No.
But like the bedroom specifically.
But also, like, if the bathrooms, you have to go through a different room to get to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Fucking give me curtains.
Give me curtains.
I'm not walking through the living room in the dead ass of night trying to go pee. I'm
Yeah.
not doing it.
Yeah.
I refuse.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And this is where we kind of see that there is some sort of rift between the parents. I wrote, I'm not quite sure what that is, but I had a sneaking suspicion that she was having an affair, or obviously that they have, like, they're both, like, living in their own professions.
I got more so something was wrong with her, like because she kind of did mention that she was sick.
She was sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they mentioned like we were already on the course for separation anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
What
exactly.
does this change? So I was thinking, oh, the issue is that they don't know how to tell the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And with her being sick and them getting separated at the exact same time, that's a lot of big hits to children.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Especially when they, obviously like they're seeing their parents fight. 'Cause we do
Right.
see that at one point.
Yeah, because they're having that argument.
Not so much fight. Yeah,
Yeah.
we see the children know that their parents are arguing, so like that's already a thing. But then to find out like, oh, mom's sick and also leaving dad, that's hard. They went to the beach. All I have for notes on that is there's a child with a polo on at the beach. Why does his family hate him? I don't know if you saw that kid.
I didn't.
Okay, he has a whole ass turquoise polo on at the beach making a sandcastle. I'm like, whose poor child is this? And that's when Trent and Idlib are running around asking people like, oh, what's your name? What's your profession? I think that's after that is when Idlib gives Trent the decipher paper.
Well, and this is where I had an issue. So that whole beach scene, like the family's obviously at the beach, they're trying to have a nice time. Trent and Idlib are going around, and Trent has this thing where he can remember everyone's name and their occupation, so he asks people that. And what I don't like is one of these things where it's the M. Night Shyamalan effect. And it's an effect that I see a lot of people do, especially in psychological thrillers, where they're just like very much like, you need to remember this.
right.
Instead of like, it's very hand-holdy.
Yeah.
And I don't like that.
It's too forward.
Yeah. Well, the reason why I say that is because Trent and Idlib go up to this like 3 people and they ask like, what's your name and occupation? And one of them is a dancer, one of them is a chef, and then the other one is a police officer.
Yeah.
But the fact that they just like really harped in on that, I was like, okay, so obviously one or all 3 of them are going to come back
be
into
some
play.
kind of vital role.
Exactly. I'm not stupid,
Yeah.
Mr. Shyamalan.
Mr. Shyamalan. I could figure this out eventually.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. I think it's the eventuality that a lot of people are getting away from nowadays. They
Right.
don't want to... They no longer want the audience to sit for an hour and a half wondering where is the answer going to come out of.
I am very fine with if your movie has to take 3 hours for it to make sense and I get every plot point answered that you give me and I walk away with no questions, I'm happy to spend 3 hours watching your movie.
Yeah, that's why I like a lot of honestly like a lot of Christopher Nolan films because
Exactly.
you
That
can-
bitch has no problem making you sit down for a 2-hour movie so that you can see what this keychain means.
Yeah, you can walk through. You can leave that movie after watching it for the first time and being like, "That was a good movie. movie. I liked it. Or even like, I didn't like it. But if you go back and watch it again, you see things.
Exactly.
And then you see it again.
Yeah.
And then you see it again.
So like you can walk away and be like, well, I don't have questions. Or if you do have questions, you know that you can watch it again, knowing that you'll get an answer.
I think
Don't hold my hand, Mr. Shyamalan.
Don't hold my hand.
Don't hold my fucking hand.
And also give me some twists.
Get off my hand.
I love some good twists.
Anyways.
This was also the scene where we really see Trent's wonderfulness. Where he is talking to Idlib and he says,
oh no, context. Idlib says they're doing like a truth game. And Idlib says,
Yeah.
I don't have any friends. Trent goes, I'll be your friend. And he's like, no, you'll leave.
yeah.
And what does Trent say?
Trent says, maybe when I get back home, my mom will let me FaceTime you and then we can be friends. And in the future, we can go to the same college and then become neighbors with mortgages. I didn't even start thinking about a mortgage until like a year ago.
I just love this kid.
It's so funny because in the first 5 minutes, I wrote, Trent is annoying. And by the very end of it, I was like, Trent's my favorite.
Yeah.
I love this kid.
So from there, we're going back to the hotel room. This is where that big argument between the parents happened.
Yes.
And this is where their main rift between them two is that Priska is constantly living in the past, but Guy is constantly living in the future. And that goes hand in hand with their professions as well, because later on we find out that Priska is a museum curator, or she works in a museum. So she stares at artifacts all day. She's very concerned with history, with the past. And Guy is in insurance. Like he gives
Actuary?
I was going to say, he gives a specific profession.
He essentially deals with the likelihoods of potential accidents.
Something happening.
Or just statistical inferences of future events that could happen.
So like neither one of them are in the present.
Or in the present, neither one.
And that's like frustrating to the both of them. But it seems more so to Priska.
But it also seems more so that like it's not so much that neither wants to be a part of the present, but it is also that neither wants to meet the other.
Yeah, there's no
where
compromise.
They're at. Yeah.
Also, I did not know what the fuck their accents were. I wrote on here like, oh, we have two ambiguously accented individuals.
Well, that's their real accent.
I think they're Dutch or something like that. I
no,
can't remember.
The guy, he's Mexican.
Excuse me?
Guy is Mexican.
Dead ass? I was thinking like French.
No. Yeah, Gail Garcia Bernal. Do you not know him?
No.
He's a Mexican actor and producer.
I've never seen that man in my life.
Oh wait, that's right, Coco. He was in Coco.
What did he play?
The grandma's dad.
Bro, I'm gonna
Coco's
start crying.
father.
I fucking love Coco so much.
That's him. I literally only know this because when Rogue One came out and everybody was thirsting after Diego Luna.
Yeah.
The two of them were in a film a long time ago.
Oh.
And they were gay.
Yay.
I think.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride.
So yeah, now we're back at the hotel with the parents. They're fighting because they just can't deal with one another. We get a little bit more insight into the kids, and also we are given another plot point where Trent and Maddox are playing with one another, and Maddox tells Trent to go play with something or whatever, and Trent's like, oh, well, you know, Idlib gave me this puzzle thing, whereas basically he has to decipher a message.
It's a coded message that he's got to decipher for.
Yeah, and it says like ice cream eating contest tomorrow or something like that.
Which is super cute.
It gives us something to be like, hey, you know, obviously they do decoded messages, and then that comes in later when they're going towards the beach. So then we do an abrupt cut to the beach. The beach that has
the main
a
beach.
Young woman getting naked.
You see side boob and some butt crack.
I just don't. You see a whole ass.
I wasn't really paying attention, not gonna lie. As soon as I saw the top come off, I was like, ugh. Gorgeous woman.
It just wasn't necessary.
It was unnecessary.
If I'm not gonna see a full sex scene, don't let anyone get naked.
Yeah, why didn't...
No offense.
So, sorry. She's also accompanied by a very lovely looking man who we come to find out is named Mid-Sized Sedan.
He's a big guy.
He's huge.
He's a big guy.
He's a huge man.
But they're both at the beach. They're both
at
young.
the beach. She takes off her clothes and is like...
They're obviously there together.
Like a sultry-ish look at him and then goes in the water.
Yeah.
I would have appreciated a removal of clothing from him as well. Yeah. Equality. Happy Pride.
Mr. Sedan.
Mr. Sedan, take your shirt off.
Let me see them big old milkers. So yeah, we go from the beach scene and now we're back at the resort in a morning time of the next day. We're introduced to another family. It's a young woman named Crystal. She's obviously the bimbo. She's the whore of the horror. Of the horror
We're going
movie.
off of Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah, if we're going off of Cabin in the Woods, she's the whore.
She is the whore.
Yeah. I love Cabin in the Woods.
I love Cabin in the Woods.
It's like my favorite movie.
It's a good one. It's well-rounded.
So good. Anyway,
everybody was in love with Marty.
Bro.
They make it a point. She makes it a point it seems like she's being bitchy. And again, well, this was one of those where it wasn't so handholdy. This is where I wish he did more of it, because it came into play later where she's talking about, is your calcium
drink
bomb drink actually calcium fortified? And I'm sitting there thinking, bitch, shut the fuck up. You don't gotta be like,
because like those people who are just like, I'm allergic to gluten, and they're not. They just get like a little bit bloated.
Yeah,
but they're like, I cannot have gluten.
I cannot be bloated on my beach day.
Yeah,
because she's obviously very materialistic.
She's
and
very thin,
very vain. Not so much that she takes care of herself, but she like is toxically taking care of herself. She has a daughter, Kara, who is like
also 6.
like
I think
4.
I think she's like 6 as
she's
well.
a baby.
Yeah,
she's a baby.
Yeah.
A grandmother whose name is,
oh, I wrote it down.
Did you? I did not, and I forgot it. Charlotte. Because I didn't write it.
I fucking only wrote down the dog's name.
You know what the dog's name is?
Yeah, it's Gustav.
Gustav.
Yeah, his name is Gustav. How fucking dare you? You don't know the dog's name?
I didn't know his name.
He's a vital character.
Agnes?
Yeah, that's her name.
Agnes.
Agnes.
Okay.
We got Crystal the whore, her
Yes.
daughter Kara,
Yes.
who's like a baby. Agnes the grandmother.
Yeah,
with
but
her
Agnes,
dog Gustav.
Agnes is the mother to Charles,
who's old.
who is older,
Sorry.
like 40s, 50s.
I think he's supposed to be in his 60s and Agnes is supposed to be in her 80s. So yeah, we're introduced to them, not really given any sort of plot points about them. We're just sort of like introduced to them as the other family in the resort.
Correct.
And then we're quickly sent over to Patricia
and Jaren.
And Jaren, she's having a grand mal seizure, and that's when we learn that Charles is a doctor because he comes over there to help.
But we also learn that Jaren is a nurse.
Yeah, Jaren is a nurse, and so he's helping her get through the seizure. So that's how we're all introduced to all of them. But I thought it was really sweet. I immediately loved Jaren and Patricia.
Obviously, seizures are not a fun thing to A, go through, and B, see happen.
Yeah, witness.
Yeah. But obviously, Jaren is a nurse. He seems like he's the nurse that like deals with.
Well, it comes out he's an ER nurse.
ER nurse.
He's
right.
an ER nurse,
so he knows how to keep his cool.
Exactly.
But also, he loves his wife.
Yeah,
and it's just like she's fine through.
They make a joke about it.
Yeah,
and I just was just like, this is really sweet. But in the midst of all that, the resort manager comes over to the. I literally wrote them as ambiguously accented family. But he comes over to their family and he was just like, listen, I like you guys. The resort manager comes over to me.
Resort manager
like,
comes over to
I really like you guys, and I want to tell you about this private beach that I want to send you to that I only let specific families go to, which is like dun dun dun. So then we're following Priska and Guy and the kids, and they're in this van. They're in the resort van,
like a bus.
Yeah, and they're about to go to the beach, and we see that little Idlib had left one of those coded messages in the van for Trent to find. So he takes that with him. Yeah. Save that for later.
Keep that in your back pocket.
Keep that in your fucking back pocket. So they're about to leave, but then Charles and Crystal and their family get into the van. Kind of unexpectedly.
Yeah, because Guy and Priska are thinking, oh, we're going to be the only family.
Yeah.
And then come to find out, no, JK, a whole ass other family is coming with us.
And then the driver is Mr. Shyamalan himself.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes, he is.
So they go to the private beach. Guy, I think, is just like, this is a lot of food for a whole bunch of people, and it is a lot of food.
It's a good amount of food.
It's a lot of food in these really cute baskets that I totally want to steal.
Right.
They're so pretty.
It's vacuum sealed as well.
Right. They're vacuum sealed aluminum bags.
To which Mr. Shyamalan says, well, you have, you know,
3 kids.
Kids eat a lot of food and you have 3 of them.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
And then this is kind of like we're also reaffirmed that Charles might be a bit of a dick bag. Because he's just like, excuse me, we have an elderly person and a child. Could you help us with the fucking bags?
Yeah, and I'm like, you all are fine.
And I'm like, you also have a whole bunch of able-bodied bitches. Shut the fuck up. And of course, Mr. Shyamalan is just like, well, I can't, I gotta go. Bye. But I'll be back at 5.
Yeah. Or just call us.
Or just call us. Or just call us.
Or just call us.
Bitch.
Spoilers, they cannot call.
Spoilers, there's no reception. So yeah, they head down to the beach, and then this is where
they pass through like a really big canyon.
Yeah, and there's this weird slow-mo part.
I'm so glad that you said that. I literally wrote in my notes, why are we in slow-mo?
Why are we in slow-mo?
It's maybe 2 seconds.
Like Mr. Shyamalan, maybe throw some fucking glitter while you're at it.
Yeah, literally with like wind chiming music.
Jesus Christ.
Because I had no idea what was going on.
I was like, this is so stupid.
I literally was thinking,
because I understand like why he may have done that. Like it's a cinematic perspective, but like it was so stupid. And it took me out of the moment.
Yeah, because I don't know what's going on.
Exactly.
I can relate back to it now. I look at that scene and I'm like, now I understand what was happening.
Right, they were like going through a threshold.
In the moment, I'm like, why the fuck are we in slow-mo? But yeah, so slow-mo was absolutely unnecessary.
Yeah, but they go into there, and then Priska and Guy and their family are setting up their tent. They're going to play and stuff like that.
Yep.
And then Charles and Crystal are about to set up their tent, but then we're shown that Mr. Sedan, who we don't know his name is Mr. Sedan just yet,
Yes.
is still there on the beach.
Kind of chilling in the background against the canyon.
Yeah, and this is where, again, Charles is reaffirming that he is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And he's just like, maybe we should move. Maybe
Yeah.
we shouldn't be sitting here.
Yeah.
And Crystal's like, why? And he's just like, I just want to, give them room.
Yeah, let's get a little closer to the water.
Yeah.
It's like, sure.
And she's
okay.
like, okay, whatever. And I'm just like, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
The three kids decide to all play with each other, Trent, Maddox, and Kara.
Yeah.
And they come across kind of like a sandbar, but it's not a sandbar. It's obviously at the top of the beach where like sand has kind of gathered from the tides coming in and out.
Yeah, where
And
like
there's a
high
whole
tide
bunch of
happened.
like old toys and
Yeah.
then rusted silverware.
Very
from
rusty
the
silverware.
resort.
Yeah, specifically from the resort.
Priska tells them like, don't play with that. You could get hurt. You could obviously. She's trying to tell them they can get tetanus from the rust.
Exactly.
Again, another plot point.
Which again, it wasn't a hand-holdy
That
thing.
was not a hand-holdy
Because that to me makes sense. She's a woman who works in a museum as museum curator.
Mm-hmm.
She knows that rust, if you touch it and you get hurt, it does basically act like poison on you. Tetanus is awful for you to get.
Yeah.
And so that made sense. I was like, this is a concerned mother with an educational background.
Yeah.
Cool. Not a plot point.
No.
Actually is a plot point.
Actually is a plot point.
Thank you for not holding my hand. Because I was more so focused on the fact that there are toys and silverware over the fact that she is giving us a plot point.
Yeah, because I was like, ooh, that's strange.
Yeah.
That there are things that have been here from
Yeah.
obviously people from the resort.
And it's been there long enough to
That's
get
weird.
rust.
Exactly.
That's
like
odd.
that's weird.
Yeah.
So the kids decide to go play hide and seek, and while they're playing hide and seek, Trent is in kind of like a cavern type of thing, like with
Like a
kind of
cove.
like a cove. It's filled with water. It's kind of like somewhat in a cave, and he notices that there are no fish around him like there had been previously when he was on the other beach, signifying to us something obviously is wrong here because there's no fish.
Right.
But this is to segue into the fact that a dead body literally floats into him.
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
And it's the woman from the night before who had been there with Mr. Sedan.
Night before or very early morning with
Yeah.
Mr. Sedan.
But because of that, obviously, Charles and Guy, and really all of them, are suspicious of Mr. Sedan
Because he
like,
knows who that is.
Yeah.
And she is dead.
And now he's bleeding from his nose.
He's bleeding profusely
he
from his
has
nose.
an injury, quote unquote.
Quote unquote.
He tells them that, like, he came with her to the beach, but she decided to swim off, and he didn't know what happened to her.
I also wrote in my notes, I was like, Mr. Shyamalan is not very aware of the times. I wrote a note that it's one black man, a dead white woman,
Yep.
surrounded by white people.
Yeah, exactly.
Because at this point, Patricia, who is a black woman, and Jaron, who is an Asian man, have
Asian
not
man.
arrived at the beach yet. So it
Yeah,
is literally
all-
a group of white people
Literally, the other two people of color are not there
are
yet.
not there yet. So Mr. Sedan, a big
And
black
a
man,
black on white crime
Yes.
has potentially occurred.
yes,
Witnessed by only whites.
only white people. At least one is of upper class.
Yeah.
Mr. Charles,
Yeah.
the doctor. I made
and
that
a piece
note.
of shit.
And I was just like,
But because everybody's kind of in a kerfuffle, Agnes, Charles's mother, is on her beach towel, and she's complaining to Crystal that she has a tight chest.
And then right at this moment is also when Patricia and Jaron do finally arrive. They arrived late because they slept in. And that is when Guy and Charles are both trying to suggest that maybe they run back to where the van drops them off to grab them because they don't have reception on their phones to reach out for help.
Yep.
And they've just now found a dead woman.
Right.
And there is a man here who knows her who is bleeding profusely from the nose.
Yeah.
Obviously something weird is happening.
Right. All of a sudden, people start dropping like flies.
People start fucking dropping.
Because obviously this woman is obviously dead. While Charles is trying to deal with that, Crystal comes up and oh my god, the way that she fucking tries to get his attention. Charles, something's wrong with your mother, sweetie.
Yeah.
I was like, she literally sounds like that scene from Romeo and Michelle.
I was about to say.
Where they're both
Oh
old
my
ladies.
God.
That's all I could think about.
I'm the Mary. For all of her exuded confidence, Crystal, for all of her exuded confidence,
Yeah.
in that moment where something is wrong with Charles's mom, it almost seems like she doesn't want to get in trouble.
Yeah.
For the fact that something's wrong with her, and you can see it in the way that she wears it on her. Like the actress does an amazing job
Right.
here, where like her shoulders are rolled in, she's got terrible posture, her hair's kind of fucked up a little
Yeah.
bit, and she looks like she's visibly crying.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
So her mascara's
ooh.
running and stuff like that.
She's having a hard time breathing.
Oh, true.
And
I mean,
then
she does rip.
She does rip, but she's having a hard time breathing. And in that same instance, Priska notices both of her children. Something weird's happening with them.
Yeah.
She thinks that maybe they're
Well,
having.
because Trent says that his
Pants feel
swimming
tight.
trunks are too tight.
Yeah, and she's like, just loosen them, and they're already completely loose, and the drawstring is basically gone because he's filled out the pants so
Yeah.
much. And she's just like, something's happening to my children. Can you please come and take a look at them?
Yeah.
And so he does try to walk over to them. And then in that very same instance, Agnes passes away, unfortunately. Charles goes over to her.
Agnes.
Rip Agnes. Goes over to her, tries giving her chest compressions. Obviously has a moment of realization where he's kind of crying and says that her heart gave out from the shock. And now, in my opinion, he's got a vendetta out against Mr. Sedan because he's like,
he killed this white woman and now he's killed my mom.
that's where his mind
Yeah.
clicks.
So at this point, Patricia and Jaren are kind of off on their own. They're talking with Trent and Maddox. Trent asks, like, what's your profession? Like, what's your name? What's your profession? Patricia is a psychologist. Jaren is a nurse. So they ask them, like, what's your name and how old are you? And Trent is 6 and Maddox is 10.
Right.
And they're just like, haha, that's so funny. That's totally not true because clearly you're not 6 and 10 with how big you are.
Yeah, and Jaren to Trent is just like, clearly you're like 10 or 11, like maybe 12, right? And he's just like, no, I'm 6. He's just like, okay, like you can stop making fun. Like,
yeah, and
clearly you're 11.
Well, and then that's where Patricia's psychology comes in. She's like, clearly they're going through something because of the shock or something like that. Like, we can just play along and then we'll address it later on.
Yeah.
Fucking Priska comes in. She's like, have you seen my children? And then both of them are just like, okay, this is no longer funny because these are literally your fucking kids. And she was like, what? Like, Jaren is like, are these not your fucking kids?
Yeah.
And she looks at them and
they are significantly older.
they are clearly much older.
Yeah.
So that's freaking them out. Then we switch back to Mr. Sedan and Charles. Mr. Sedan is running
away
into the mountains to escape.
into the canyon.
Yeah, because Charles is chasing him because he's...
No. Sedan starts running first.
Oh, that's what it
freaks
is. And
out and
Charles
starts
goes
running.
after him
And
because
then
he's
Charles
like,
goes after
obviously
him.
he's guilty. Or he literally screams like, say.
Yeah, and it's like,
I'm like, Charles, shut the fuck up.
literally my mind is like, wow, you're racist.
I was literally like, you're literally a piece of shit and I hope you die a horrible death. Spoiler alert.
Keep that in your pocket.
They run into the mountains or into that canyon where they entered and they both start having like a fucking conniption. So they apparently black out and they show back up on the beach. And what had happened is that they obviously blacked out, but there was an extreme amount of pressure coming from the mountains that caused them to have like extreme head pressure. They stumbled out of the cave, they blacked out. So they decide to all split off into groups of 2, except for Priska, who's staying behind with the kids. And they're going to try a different way, not through that specific corridor that they entered, off the beach.
Yeah.
They all end up back on the
Stumble
beach,
back out.
having
Yep.
blacked out from the extreme head pressure.
We lose the dog.
Oh yeah, R.I.P. Gustav.
Rip Gustav.
Rip Gustav.
Yeah. We don't see it, which is nice.
That's, thank God.
right.
Thank God.
Yeah.
It just, like, it was so non-eventful.
Yeah.
That, like, probably 30 minutes later, I was like, oh yeah, Gustav's dead.
I literally wrote in my notes, though, that if Gustav died, I was going to quit watching the movie. And then he died. And I was like, well, I didn't see
But
it,
wasn't
so
like
it's
a
fine.
horrible death.
No, he just passed away.
So I'm fine with it.
Yeah, he just got old and died.
Yeah. R.I.P. Gustav.
Rip Gustav.
Obviously, everyone's just like, well, we can't leave the beach and something fucked up is going on. And Priska and Guy want Charles to look at their kids because clearly something is wrong. They have aged exponentially. Charles is like, something is going on with him. He takes a knife out of his pocket and he slashes at Mr. Sedan's face and cuts
it open.
really big.
Yeah.
Like a really big cut. And they're
Yeah.
all freaking out. He's clearly unhinged.
Clearly not doing good.
No.
Because
And, like-
then he makes the statement that, like, I felt scared for my life.
So he's freaking out. Everyone's freaking out. And they're like, okay, well, let us see it because he had his hand over it.
Yeah.
He removes
Well,
his hand.
Jaren, the nurse, wants to see it to be able to help.
And Mr. Sedan is just like, well, it doesn't hurt anymore. Like,
Probably from the shock.
From the shock.
Yeah.
He removes his hand and it's scarred over.
Completely healed
It's
over.
completely healed
with
and is
small
a scar. Patricia makes the note that maybe they're all going through some sort of group psychosis because of the shock of all the death.
Yeah. And I wrote, now is not the time for
Thank
your
you.
psychology.
I was like, Patricia, I love you so much. Thank you for being a psychologist.
Yeah,
not
your
the time.
profession is, you know.
It is not the
I
time.
appreciate it, but now's not the time.
Now is not the time.
Don't do it.
So yeah, we're kind of moving forward from that because they're all just like, well, we don't even know what the fuck we're supposed to be doing anyways. Charles looks at the kids and he says that they're all aging. They're actually aging. They're not reacting to something on the beach, but they are actually growing. So to kind of like deal with all of this, they decide to do a therapy session. Patricia brings them all together and they just want to talk about like why they're there. Crystal says that their family is going through something, but Charles is obviously very hesitant to talk about it.
Like aggressively hesitant.
Like aggressive.
Yeah, like we're not talking about it.
Yeah. This leads into the next big segment because Guy says that Priska is sick. And then she explains that she has a tumor, but it's benign.
Benign.
It's supposed to be benign.
Yes.
But then immediately she starts feeling sick. She
Feeling
starts
not
feeling
well.
very weak. Jaren kind of like goes to where her tumor is and it's growing. It's like the size of a grapefruit and then it's the size of a softball. And then
She
she
faints.
passes out.
Guy makes a very hard, immediate decision that even though they are nowhere near a hospital and have no medical equipment to allow Charles, who is a surgeon. To do quick surgery on her.
Charles begins to perform surgery but gets sidetracked with some movie trivia he can't quite remember. He couldn't remember the movie in which Marlon Brando and Jack Nicholson starred in. The movie is called The Missouri Breaks.
Okay.
It's a bizarre Western.
Ah.
But every time they go to cut into Priska, it immediately heals.
Yep.
And scars.
Yes.
Like immediately.
They cut open, it just heals right up.
They're all like holding the incision open.
Jaren makes the observation that we all just need to hold it open.
Yeah.
We are basically going to need to have to like Hulk hold it open so Charles can do what he's got to do.
Yeah, so they do that. They do remove the tumor. Literally, by the time they take it out, it's like the size of a fucking cantaloupe.
It's huge.
It's gigantic.
It is huge.
And disgusting.
Yes. And then as soon as they let go of her skin, it heals back over. It's disgusting.
And she wakes up. She's fine. She feels great. So much better. Yay. Thank God. No R.I.P. to Priska just yet. This is when Mr. Sedan has introduced himself. His name is actually Brendan.
Yes.
So from now on, I will be calling him Brendan.
Agreed.
Not Mr. Sedan.
Not Mr. Sedan.
So Brendan is just like, okay, well, I'm going to go check on the dead bitch.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Which at this point, I had made the note, how is Brendan, formerly Mr. Sedan, doing so well on this island? Considering that everyone is obviously progressing through their ages quickly. This man has either been here overnight or since very early in the morning.
That's where I was confused.
And he don't look like he's changed at all. Not even like small, because I understand that like certain melanated individuals, like the whole black don't crack joke.
They even make that joke.
Even with that sentiment, obviously everyone is aging quickly. This man has not changed
at all.
At least to my eyes.
Yeah.
Not even sunspots, wrinkles, receding hairline, graying.
There are some things in this movie that just don't make no sense.
It doesn't make sense.
So he goes to check on the dead woman's body, and when he lifts up the towel that they had put onto her, she's literally dust.
She's bones.
She's literally dust and bones.
Yeah, I said she's all skin and bones without the skin.
And so he's freaking out.
Yep.
And then this is where Priska, who works at a museum, obviously, she goes into the fact that like it should have taken like 30 plus years for this to have occurred. Kara and Trent are at the tents, just like laying, chilling out, whatever. They're hanging out.
I'm innocently thinking,
like,
this is
having
cute.
a nice bonding moment.
Yeah, they're like Trent's,
they're talking.
Trent's holding her.
Yeah,
in a way where if it was two adults, I'd be like, ooh, sexy,
ooh,
sexual.
But I'm thinking these are
children, so I'm thinking, oh, this is so nice that they are comforting one another.
Yeah,
incorrect.
Very incorrect.
Incorrect. But this is where we kind of get the math of how quickly age is progressing with all of them.
Yep.
And then that is where we make the black don't crack joke.
What is it, like 1 hour equals a half hour is equal to 1 year. So
correct.
Every hour is 2 years.
2 years.
Of their life.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's where I'm wondering what the fuck's going on with Brendan. Because if we give him even the benefit of the doubt that maybe he's been here since like 5 in the morning. At the point that Patricia and Jaren show up, it's at least noon.
And then that makes you wonder, why is that girl's body, why was it so properly preserved in the water?
Until she was put on the beach.
And then she decays?
Maybe the water slows down the aging process?
I don't know. This is where they're talking about like the rocks having some sort of like, they're changing their cells in some sort of way. And so by going through the rocks, it's like coming up to the surface when you've been deep diving too quickly.
Yeah, this is where Jaren and Christopher Nolan are one and the same.
Exactly.
Yes, because Jaren then says what they could do is slowly take a step.
Like every 20 minutes
every
or something
20
like
minutes
that.
And wait to essentially become reacclimated with normal time.
Yeah.
But then he goes on to say, like,
who wants to wait like for like 30 years?
Yeah, you'd have to do that over the course of 10 hours.
Yeah.
And that could be upwards of 20 years.
Yeah. Of your life. Like, who wants to spend the rest of their life doing that? Essentially is what he's saying.
Essentially, yeah.
But while they're all doing this, they realize that Kara and Trent are not with the group. Maddox is, because she was with Brendan. And so they're yelling for the kids, and the kids are in the tent, obviously, and both of them come out of the tent, Trent and Kara, and Kara is very hungry. This is where she opens up that fucking pasta salad bag, and this is where I got confused because of what they're saying. And I think, honestly, this is another thing where it wasn't hand-holdy, but when you think about it later on, when you're given all the context clues, you're like, oh shit. And this is why I get pissed off with M. Night Shyamalan holding my hand. Stop fucking, don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Let go of my fucking hand.
Let go of my fucking hand. Let me figure it out for myself. Even if I don't, that's my bad. I'm the idiot.
I'll go back and watch it again.
You gave me the context.
Yes.
So this is where it is. She goes to eat that fucking pasta salad.
Yeah.
Like we said, they have been aging. Why is that pasta salad still fresh?
Because it's vacuum sealed. So the minerals...
it's in an aluminum bag.
Yeah.
It's in a metal bag.
It's in a metal bag. So no sediment, no nutrients, no nothing from
that
those
stuff
rocks
can't reach
is touching it. So the thing itself is aluminum, what they're inside of is aluminum, and they're vacuum sealed. So nothing's getting in there. But it makes me wonder, as soon as you open it though,
right? Well,
how long does that food last?
Yeah.
Because if it's ate quickly, that pasta salad's bad in like
literally 2 minutes.
You open it and it's bad.
Oh God, dude, that looks so delicious. It literally looked like a Goofy movie pizza slice.
Yes.
It's like that same sensation.
Immediately, I was just like, I think I'm going to add pasta salad to my grocery list.
Me too. I was literally like, I need mozzarella. I need the rotini noodles. I already got basil.
I need Italian dressing.
I need to get
olive
oil.
Yes.
Bitch. The group obviously sees that Trent and Kara are out there. And then Trent and Kara start walking towards the group. And Kara is pregnant.
Well, first of all, I realize, wow, Trent is much older.
Yeah.
And then I see Kara is pregnant.
Kara is fucking pregnant.
Pregnant. Like 5 months along pregnant.
And I was like, I am disgusted.
I was yucked out.
So Crystal's freaking out. All of them are essentially freaking out. They're trying to explain to the kids what's happening. And then obviously time is going by, so Kara will not remain pregnant for very long.
No, Kara,
because it's literally a 10-month gestation period.
Yeah, in a matter of seconds, she goes from 5 months to ready to pop out the baby.
Yeah, but Charles is also on some shit. He's saying some weird fucking stuff. And this is where immediately I thought, oh, this man has dementia.
Yeah, I'm thinking his medical condition is dementia or early onset Alzheimer's.
And then later on we find out it fucking is something else, and I'm a little bit pressed about it.
I am a
We've
little
already
pressed
had the conversation, but I'm a little bit pressed.
I am a little pressed. Could have done better.
So yeah, Kara has the baby.
Tragedy strikes us yet again.
Yeah, R.I.P. to the poor little baby boy.
Literally came out the womb, got wrapped up in a towel, and then died, and immediately became dust.
Because of neglect.
Because of literal neglect.
Because they could not take care of it fast enough.
Yeah, the 2 seconds it took to put him in that towel.
Charles is not doing well. He's stabbing the sand next to Jaren and threatening him.
I wrote Charles is racist in all caps.
Yeah.
Because his aggressions keep only happening towards
people of
color.
They're still trying to figure out what to do with themselves, and then all of a sudden, fucking Charles is literally stabbing Brendan to death. Patricia sees it all.
She's screaming.
And he runs away.
That shit's fucked
and they're like, well, what the fuck is happening?
Yep. We also see someone up on the hill. So across from the beach.
Up on the mountaintop.
Through the water up on the mountaintop, there is an individual looking down at them with binoculars. I immediately was like, oh, there's some kind of experiment.
Right. So the group confronts Charles. They take his knife away. And then Jaren decides that he's going to swim out past the cove that they're in to get to a different part of the beach that isn't being affected by the rocks.
Correct.
Mainly because Patricia has not had her medicine yet.
For several hours.
Which if we're going by off of years, has been technically years.
Yeah.
And he's surprised that she hasn't had a seizure yet. While Jaren goes off to do that, they also talk about like maybe climbing up the mountain is something that they could do, because maybe the way that time works won't impact them if they're just going up instead of through.
Correct.
They're not going to do it. No, obviously, because they're just like, it's scary, but they might.
Like, if they're already prone to blacking out while going through the canyon, who knows how far up you could go before you might black out.
Yeah.
And then you could literally like fall and die.
And then this is when Maddox confronts Priska. Asks her and Guy were going to get separated. The mother says yes.
Yep.
She asks her, was there someone else? And Priska says yes, that she was having an affair. And Maddox is obviously hurt by this.
I thought that this was actually quite sad, because Maddox tells Priska says like, are you upset with me, or like, are you mad at me, or something like that? And Maddox says, I just need some time, Mom. And as she's walking away, Priska goes, we don't have that.
That was really touching.
That shit fucked me up.
I started crying.
I cried. I was like, oh my God, you guys don't. It's that notion, like how we have just kind of like in everyday life.
Yeah.
Where you're just like as Jenna Marbles said, life is so short, but insufferably long.
Yeah.
And like, yes, that is true. But not for these people.
No.
It is actually incredibly short.
Maddox is now having an existential crisis and is going for a swim. I feel like we've all forgotten that the first death was some naked bitch who went swimming. Oh, and then I wrote, and surprise, R.I.P. Jaren.
Literally, I wrote, great, she's gonna find, as she gets in the water, great, she's gonna find a dead body. Joke's on me, it's Jaren. Yeah. So Jaren has died.
He blacked out, they believe, trying to leave.
Yes.
And drowned.
Unconsciously drowned in the ocean.
So, R.I.P. Jaren.
Yep, R.I.P. Jaren. And now both children have found a dead body floating in the water. Full circle.
So now we move off to Trent and Kara, who are grieving together as parents. So
Trent shows how supportive
he has a lot
is,
of
though.
empathy.
I was very surprised.
A lot of like,
I was like, damn.
he's very empathetic.
I'm like, can I get me one? Like,
Kara.
just his, like, nicely putting his face on her shoulder.
Yeah.
To be like, I am here, but this is about you. Even though I was a part of this, this is mostly about you.
Right.
But I'm here.
So he takes.
I didn't like hearing the little baby bone
No,
rattles.
that was a bit much. That was a little bit much.
I was like, we didn't
got
need
the
to
point
hear that.
across, but it was a bit much.
Too much.
So he goes to bury the baby, and obviously Kara isn't dealing with it well. So she decides to climb the mountain. Yeah, she's climbing the mountain. She's not doing well.
Well, no, I put, I think I wrote, yo, Kara Strong.
Yeah, Kara
She was climbing up them
She gets
shits.
up quite fast.
She was getting up there.
But she does eventually.
Yeah, I said just kidding, Kara dead.
Yeah, she blacks out, faints,
Yep.
falls off the mountain, dies on
Splats.
impact.
Yep.
Yeah. And then this was where it was a really sweet, touching moment between Trent and Guy, because Trent is obviously, he sees Kara's dead body. He goes over to her. He starts crying. He's sobbing. Guy comes over to him and literally covers his eyes to avert him from looking at his dead baby mama and holds him in his lap. And I start crying again.
Yeah, I agree.
Together as a couple, Guy and Priska suck.
Awful.
But I'll tell you what, they're there for their fucking kids.
They're good parents.
They're there
I actually
for their
could say
kids.
Priska could do better.
Priska could do
but
better.
also women, you know, they got a lot of shit going on. She's a woman who probably
Well, I mean,
had a
she's
really
a whore, so. Am I gonna ruffle some feathers by saying that? Because of all this, you know, obviously Priska and Guy and Trent and Maddox are all kind of together. They're all kind of grieving everything that's going on, and obviously there's a lot of psychological turmoil happening.
Yes.
Patricia says, well, and then obviously Jaren just passed away, so Patricia doesn't really have anybody else.
It's just her.
She says that she's gonna go and try to get. She's going to use pool noodles and a blanket.
And a blanket that she wraps around them.
Yep, to float into
Which is
the water.
fair.
How is that fair? She literally just saw her husband die in the water.
Well, if she goes unconscious, she's going to be floating.
You know what? I didn't even fucking make that connection.
So she's not going to drown.
You stupid motherfucker. That's exactly why the fuck she had the pool noodles, isn't it? I'm such
So
a
she can just
dumbass.
float through the unconsciousness.
I'm literally fucking such a dumbass. I was sitting here being
Making
like, what is this stupid bitch doing with the fucking pool
Making
noodles?
a makeshift life jacket.
I literally... Oh
so if she
my
goes unconscious, she
fucking
can just
God.
continue to float.
Patricia.
Smart bitch.
Smart bitch.
Smart bitch. Let the women do the work. She is
Let
very
the fucking
smart.
women do the work.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
You know what? Go Patricia.
Well,
Rip
Anyways, Patricia.
Rip Patricia because she's going on to this whole big spiel about how she hasn't seen her sister in a long time, but they had like a falling out or something, and she just she wants to see her because now she's older, so she wants to go.
I was going to say, but then again, the discussion of older happens. Her sister is older than her, but she is now technically older than her sister, and
and also in wise.
And wise. Yeah. She's just looking at like, I'm obviously much older now. This whole fighting thing is stupid.
Exactly.
And so she is trying to go. And then I wrote in my notes, I think this woman just had every single seizure of the rest of her life.
I think so too.
Because
I think that's exactly what happened.
Starts seizing and then stops. Starts seizing again and then stops.
She has like 4 or 5
four
seizures.
in a row. 4 or 5 in a row. And they're progressively getting more aggressive.
Yeah. R.I.P. Patricia.
Rip Patricia. She
Dawn but
has...
not forgotten. So that happens, but at the exact same time, Guy is starting to lose his vision.
Guy's going blind.
Really bad. He's
Yes.
going blind.
Crystal finally makes a reappearance.
Oh my god, she is Quasimodoing it up. She literally looks like a fucking hag.
That's fine and everything. If she would have been Quasi, she is Quasi and tragic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Literally tragic.
Yeah. And this is again where Don't Hold My Hand happened because he didn't. She then starts exclaiming that she really needs her calcium. And this is where I realize, for all of her materialistic bullshit that she's got going on and her internalized misogyny, she was in check with her health.
Maddox, Trent, and Guy are arguing with one another about how to get off the beach.
Yes.
And this is where I find out that Priska is going deaf.
Yes.
In one of her ears.
Priska is losing hearing
in one of her ears.
And I think I wrote, what did I write? Priska is deaf in one ear, same bitch.
So nightfall happens with the family.
Yes.
They build a bonfire. And this is where Guy confronts Priska about her affair. But not in a mean way. He says that he had seen some text messages and he said something about like he says sweet things, but he's an idiot.
He says romantic things, but he's stupid.
Yeah, and he's like, you deserve so much better, and I'm sorry I wasn't that person.
That touched me.
I was happy that she said, don't blame yourself. This is literally all on me. You need to be mad at me.
Yeah.
Like, I fucked up, and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And Guy was just like, well, it is what it is. And I wrote in my notes, I was just like, it's supposed to be an emotionally lifting scene, but at the end of the day, it's talking about an affair. So if Guy's moving forward, then all right. So then we're focusing back on the kids. Trent and Maddox are going through all those things that they found on the beach previously, the toys and whatnot, and they come across a notebook.
Well, and they're also trying to find paper and flammable items to put onto the bonfire to keep mom and dad warm. Because obviously they're old as fuck now.
They're getting old.
But
they end up finding a notebook that was from a scientist who had been on the beach.
Yes.
The scientist was keeping track of everybody's names and then anything that was happening. So they keep that notebook.
Oh, and even has like some
like hypotheses.
Yeah, that like maybe something that can block out the way time is moving around them.
That affects their cells.
Exactly. And he was just like, and Trent makes the observation, what about maybe it's like how when you go to the dentist and you wear a vest when you go to do your x-rays. Maybe it's something like that. We just need a giant metal tube.
We need a giant metal tube, which then brings me back to the food.
Yes.
That is why the food was fine.
Yes, because it was vacuum sealed in aluminum.
Yeah, that aluminum was keeping all of it was the metal tube for the food.
Yes.
So that's why it was so fresh.
But then Maddox obviously crushes our dreams and says, where are we going to find a metal tube?
Yeah, fuck off, Maddox.
I mean, like, I get it, realism, but like, fuck.
But also, you're on a goddamn stranded beach.
You literally have aged 3 decades.
Yeah, oh no, is this so impossible? What the fuck else do you think is happening, bitch? Anyways.
I found a metal tube, fuck it. Charles loses his shit.
Charles finally loses his shit. He goes through their bag, he gets the knife.
Gets his knife back.
He comes, so Guy can hear somebody crawling towards him.
Correct.
And that was so scary.
Grunting with the, like, fuzzy look, like when we take our glasses off.
They did such a good job of portraying that. That part scared me so bad.
Very terrifying. Very terrifying.
So bad for Guy, but he starts attacking Guy.
Yeah.
And obviously Guy is healing because...
Quickly. Yeah, because he's just slashing at him.
But he's still slashing him. But he's screaming to Priska on her bad side. Like, what is happening?
Yeah.
He doesn't understand what's happening because he can't fucking see.
Yeah.
And then finally Priska looks over there.
First, she attempts to sacrifice herself by she stands in front of Guy and gets slashed a bit by Charles.
Does she?
Yes.
Oh, I thought that's when she came back.
No, and then Guy throws her off and says, go hide the kids.
Oh, you're right.
And then she runs away.
You're right.
Meanwhile, Charles is still like slashing at Guy. Then Priska goes and finds the children, says basically, don't ask me, like yelling at them, don't ask me any questions, just hide somewhere where no one can find you.
Yeah.
And so they
go
travel
like a cave,
like the cave. Yeah, a cave that's a part of the cove. It's low tide, I guess, so everything's kind of open.
Yeah.
So they go in there.
The kids are in that little cave thing, and then they encounter Crystal, who has debilitated horribly.
Awfully.
Like, she has got some serious osteoporosis going on.
She's got a lot going on.
It's pretty bad, but she's getting upset with them because she doesn't want them to look at them. And then she also is like, where's my daughter? Is she dead? Yeah. Trent tells her, unfortunately she did pass away. It was an accident. So now she's pissed off.
Yeah, and she's throwing rocks at the children.
Yeah, she's throwing rocks at the children. And then this is where we go, R.I.P. Crystal. Good God. This was the most terrifying scene to me.
This was the worst
so
scene.
Fucking scary.
This one made me sad.
Yeah.
And also, like, really she didn't deserve that.
No.
She wasn't the greatest.
No.
But that was awful.
Anyway, so she goes to throw a rock. Obviously,
a big rock.
She's very, very weak.
Big boulder. Her bones are brittle.
Falls and cracks her right on the arm, and her arm breaks and immediately heals broken. So it's all fucked up.
Yes.
So then she goes...
But as she's progressing...
She's still going towards them.
But her bones are still getting more brittle as time, quote-unquote, moves forward.
Right. And so every time she goes towards them, she'll, like, crack a knee on something, immediately break it, heal.
Yep.
She'll crack her leg on something, immediately break it, heal. And she just keeps doing that. And then all of a sudden, because she's in constant pain, and she's constantly breaking her stuff, we just see her... I'm literally grossed out.
She just
keeps like cracking, healing, like over and over and over again until she's literally like a bundle of bones.
Yeah, a bundle of broken skin and bones.
Like, she literally looks like a fucking spider.
She looks terrifying.
It's scary.
Yeah.
All right, Crystal.
Rip Crystal. That was a hard one.
That was a real hard one.
She didn't deserve that.
So then we go back to Charles is still fucking up Guy.
Correct.
Priska comes back and she slices Charles down his arm with a weapon.
We don't see what it is.
We don't see what it is, but we see that it's not healing. And it is bleeding.
It's actually bleeding.
Profusely.
Hard.
Horribly. And it's gooey.
It's gucky.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's mucky.
It's mucky.
It's mucky. Bitch. It's mucky.
It's mucky.
We see that she's holding one of the rusted knives.
Rusted silverware from the hotel.
Thank you again, Mr.
Yes.
Shyamalan, for not
Tying it
fucking
in.
holding my hand.
So I would have never thought this is going to come back into play.
Exactly. Because that wasn't the focal point. The focal point was, why is there all this stuff here?
Why is all this shit
From
here?
the resort. Not, oh, this is a rusted weapon that eventually... It wasn't Chekhov's rusted knife.
No.
I mean. So yes, it's poisoning Charles.
She goes on to explain that rust
It's like poison to the blood.
poison to the blood, which is why you're supposed to get a tetanus shot after you step on something awful.
So he is poisoned to death.
he is literally poisoned to death.
And it
you
is
see his
graphic.
I mean,
It's
nothing
disgusting.
explodes.
No.
He doesn't get deformed.
But it looks painful.
literally, he is poisoning from the inside out.
Yeah.
He is just,
And it's bad.
yeah.
So-
it's like reminds me of like probably what the Black Plague looked like.
Yeah.
There we go.
So RIS Charles definitely gone in, forgotten.
Yes,
Rest in shit.
shits, my guy.
I said good for him. R.I.P. and shit, Charles, you racist piece of shit.
I literally wrote, I love it. What a fun way to see someone go, especially for him. He was awful.
So now everybody is kind of like, chilling, whatever. That whole ordeal just happened. Guy and Priska are obviously very old, and their
They're
children
aging.
are taking care of them.
Yeah,
and it's
as they
very,
are
very sweet.
aging
and
very quickly.
This is where we come back to Priska gets to be sang to by her adult daughter, which ties into the thing at the front, which honestly was quite cringe.
I was going to say, my first note ever with this movie was immediate secondhand embarrassment. I hate watching other people sing. I literally wrote, oh, fuck with the singing again. I hate this.
You didn't think it was sweet?
I fucking hate it.
Oh, I thought it was
As cute as
sweet.
it is, very sentimental. I appreciate that she was able to give that to her mother.
Yeah.
As an older individual, they're
Also,
both old.
that
but like,
actress-
I hate watching other people sing.
Well, that's unfortunate.
It is. I wish I could work on
It was
it.
a sweet moment.
It was a very sweet moment.
Oh, and then I wrote, okay, so I don't want to cry because I actually thought it was really sweet, but I
Aw.
said these final moments between Guy and Priska are both heartbreaking and joyful at the same time. They seem happy in their ignorance, and I think that's what most of us want in our final days with our partner. I'm literally going to start crying.
Oh my god, bud. That's right, because Guy goes to Priska and says, why did you want to leave the beach?
Yeah, he's literally like,
And she
why did we want to leave?
remembers. She knows why. And she's like, doesn't matter anymore.
It doesn't matter. And he's like, this is such a beautiful beach. And he was just like, he literally goes, were we fighting? And he goes, well, whatever it was, I don't care. Like, he holds up his old man hand.
Yeah. And she's just like, no, I agree. Yeah. No,
And it was
I love
such a
you,
sweet-
basically. It was a very sweet moment.
It was such a sweet moment. But anyways, guys, the first to go, R.I.P.
Rip Guy,
My sweet, sweet bean.
gone but not forgotten.
Gone but not forgotten.
That was a good one.
I said R.I.P. in heaven, my dude.
Yeah, definitely. Yep.
Definitely in
He deserved
heaven.
to go up.
Not in shit.
Not in shits.
Fuck you, Charles.
Just soft thud. He just aged.
He just aged.
I
He
love
just
that him
passed
and-
away peacefully.
Yes. It was wonderful. Of all of them, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Guy really deserved it. And
He
then I
really
put Priska walks to the ocean and also passes peacefully. R.I.P. to that
She
angel. I think her heart stopped.
Yeah. She walks to the ocean, and the camera keeps panning into the ocean as you hear her gasping and
Yeah.
shuffling back.
Yeah.
So I think what she probably in her final moments was just like, I want to see the water, but also I want to be with my husband.
Yeah.
And she got to do both.
Yeah.
And then she passes.
And I put the two are set side by side to eternally rest together. I'm literally going to start crying.
Oh, bud. Rip in heaven, y'all.
Rip in heaven. And I think that's why, like, I understand why some people find the movie stupid. And especially because there's a lot of plot holes.
A lot of potholes.
There's a lot of plot holes that don't
but in
make
the
any
moments
sense.
that are wonderful.
But
he did a great job.
He did a great job.
Did a great job. And this is where, definitely you and I had different reactions to it. Because I was just like, oh, that's sad. Like, oh, that's fucking tragic. Like, they just died.
And I was
They're
like, oh,
dead
that's
now.
so sweet.
And then to you were just like, I would love to just be with my husband, possibly surrounded by my kids.
Yeah.
And just being like, yeah, this is it.
This
and then
is
just
fine. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So now we're on to the second day for the kids. They're both fully grown in their 50s.
Old adults now.
And I literally wrote, this is... Oh, actually, hold on. I wrote, Trent now looks like Stanley Tucci in a wig, and Maddox looks like an older Miss Honey from Matilda.
I agree.
That is fucking Miss Honey from Matilda.
Oh my god, are you dead
That's
ass?
dead ass Miss fucking Honey from Matilda. So they're just like, well, we should probably continue to escape. But before they do that, they want to build a sandcastle.
Yeah, they're just like, you know what, if we're gonna die here, or if we're gonna attempt to
Potentially.
make an escape for it,
Yeah.
I'd rather just be,
Yeah.
I'd rather have fun.
And they make this really wonderful comment of like, I wonder if adults technically their age ever feel like kids still, or if they still feel like kids because they were just kids yesterday. And I'm like, no, people still feel like kids. But because of that conversation, Trent is just like, oh, maybe then I can figure out this puzzle, that coded message that Idlib gave me yesterday that I couldn't figure out. I'm older now. Maybe I'll have a better chance of figuring it out. He does figure it out. So the message reads, my uncle doesn't like the coral. This is where they make the connection. Maybe that's the metal tube.
Yeah, I wrote, love how we could have potentially saved everyone by just letting the child decode his friend's message sooner.
They decide to go through the coral. They're trying to get through it, but they're swimming through it, and there is like an actual tunnel
straight
through the
it.
coral. And unfortunately, Maddox's like her cover up gets stuck on the coral.
Yeah.
And we are to believe that they have drowned.
Because we pan to Mr. Shyamalan himself
Up at the top.
of the mountain.
He was
with
looking
his
at them.
binoculars.
Yeah, he was
Looking
staring
down
at them. We've now changed perspectives, and he radios back to the resort and is just like, yeah, they've died. No more subjects are at the beach. I'm gonna head back. And they're like, are you sure that they passed away? He was like, yeah, I literally just watched them go into the coral. I thought they were gonna get through. There's no way that they made it through.
Yeah, they clocked it like a minute and 20 seconds, which is a long time to hold your breath.
Yeah, there's no way that they made it through.
No way they made it out. And he said, he even makes the remark, the last time somebody did make it through, however, they got too exhausted and drowned. So even if they make it through, I can't determine that they already did, because who knows how long they've held their breath. But I can say that even if they did make it through, they'll be too exhausted to continue any further and will drown.
He heads back to the resort, and this is where we find out that the resort is a hub for scientists for that pharmaceutical company, the Warner, and that they are running illegal
human medical experiments
on these people at the beach, because yes, those rocks do have the property to make these people go old, like people get older. Yeah. So they're able to run the trial at an what is that called, like a expedited rate,
yes,
but it still have real world consequences. So what they find out is that the special drinks that they're giving the people at their first arrival, it has a special cocktail of medicine for whoever is sick, and then they kind of like figure out the results from there. So what they end up highlighting is that Patricia, her specific cocktail that she got, kept her from having a seizure for 16 and a half years. Technically, essentially curing her of having seizures.
Yes.
And this is where I have a difficult time with that conversation, because that is a life-saving thing that happened.
Yeah.
People died because of it.
Yes.
Is it worth it?
And again, this is where me and you, when we were in the car, I work for a biopharmaceutical company. I don't personally, and nobody at the facility that I work at, we don't do this. We just create the medicine. However, our counterparts further down the state work on lab mice.
Yeah.
From what I'm told, they're very well taken care of. But at the end of the day,
they're still tested on.
But again, this is exactly like they were provided food and beach and all-inclusiveness.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they still died.
So I think that's a good ethical question that the movie brings into question. Whether or not M. Night Shyamalan wanted to create that conversation doesn't
It is a good question.
It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, you're going to have that conversation regardless.
Risk versus
of like
reward. Ethics.
Yeah. So we're going back out to the middle of the resort. The buff lady is giving somebody their drinks.
We go back to the cop. We go to the cop first.
Oh yeah, we're with the cop. Which again, hand-holdy. That specific thing was hand-holdy.
Over to the cop
that we met at the beginning.
Some unknown quote-unquote person walks up. We already know who it is.
And hands him the notebook that the fucking kids found.
So
clearly it's the kids.
First he goes, "You're a cop, right?" Which obviously Trent would remember, because he remembers everybody's name and profession. And he goes, "Yeah." And so he hands him the book. Trent, literally grown-up Trent, hands him the book. So now we know Trent has at least made it back to the shore.
Yeah.
Trent's made it. I don't know if Maddox has made it.
Because who the fuck else would have the book?
Because who else would have the book?
And who else would remember that
that's a cop?
That is a cop.
And also, we've already heard Trent speak, and he's wearing the exact same fucking shirt. Now we go to the buff waitress, and she is taking cocktails to these two individuals who have just shown up.
Two different cocktails.
However, she gets bumped into, and the cocktails fall and smash, in which she apologizes and said, "We'll get those right back to you in a moment," because they are obviously special and need to take time to cultivate. Only for Trent to say, "I wouldn't drink anything that they give you while you're here," and then immediately goes into some weird ass spiel. "My name is Trent blah blah blah," and then you hear in the background, "My name is Maddox blah blah blah. We're from this place in Philadelphia, and they left us out there to die."
Yeah.
And it's like, bitch.
So then we're given a flashback of when the kids were in the coral. There was a crack that happened in the coral that Maddox's cover-up got stuck to, so they were able to break it. And there was also holes, like openings at the top of the coral that they got into, breathed really quickly, and then were swimming again.
Yes.
They make it through the coral. They almost faint, but they don't. So they make it through the coral, and they're immediately surrounded by small fish.
Yes.
Realizing that they're out, that they're safe, that they're fine.
Because fish are finally back. The cop is on the phone with his cop friends, confirming that some of the people's names in the book are people who are missing. Missing peoples. And then he goes on to find out that all of the people in that book are missing. Now he's just like, y'all gotta get the fuck out here. Some weird shit's going on. They are killing these people, I guess.
Yeah. So they get flown off the island. They're gonna go talk with their aunt.
Well, they're gonna go get picked up by their aunt.
Yeah, they're gonna get picked up by their aunt, and the cop's just like, you guys are gonna be okay? And he was just like, we're literally 50 years old.
Yeah, he was like, how would you feel if a 50-year-old man called you and said that he was your 6-year-old nephew?
Yeah, exactly.
I was just like, you're right.
Bitch, you're right. And then everybody's getting arrested, and Warner is getting subpoenaed or whatever the fuck, and end of the movie.
End of movie.
But I think overall it was a good movie. I think I only like it because it made me emotional. With the aging part with the two parents.
That's fair.
Other than if that had been taken out, I would not have cared for this movie.
You would have been like, fuck this movie.
Yeah, because it wasn't like there wasn't enough gore aspect. There was not enough horror. It was mostly psychological, which is fine. But even that, like I said, it felt very handholdy in some instances.
Well, that's why I said in the car, it was like slow and fast at the same time. It just didn't make sense. It was a play on time, but it didn't play well.
What would you give it a rating out of 10?
Out of 10?
10 being the best, 1 being the worst.
Well, it's definitely not the worst.
Okay, maybe not 10. Maybe go 5.
We'll go 5?
Yeah.
I'd give it like a 2.5.
Really?
Maybe a 3.
I was going to say 3.
Yeah.
I'd give it a 3.
I wouldn't watch it again, but I wouldn't be mad if I went and saw this in movie theaters.
You know what? Maybe I'll give it a 3.5 because I would watch it again. I've watched it twice now, and I probably will watch it again.
I wouldn't watch it again.
Okay.
So it's a solid 3 for me.
But
if I went to the movie theaters and spent like $40 on it, I'd be like, yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
It's better than Men.
We don't have an ending thing.
Do we need one?
No.
Bye.
Bye. Dead ass when I made that TikTok. When I made that TikTok, fucking everybody was just, oh, did you know he was super ripped? Did you know they had to put baggy clothes on him? He couldn't get naked for when he came out of the lake because he was super ripped and he was supposed to be a stoner. He's fucking jacked.
That would have made it so much better.
Thank you.
Because like you have whole ass Chris Hemsworth and Jesse Williams there.
But dead ass, that's why they kept like that full like
because they knew like, everybody's gonna be in love with Marty anyway. We cannot have him be sexy.
Because literally Chris Hemsworth and the guy from the ER show,
Jesse,
because they were both in it and they're supposed to be the studs, and then you got this fucking idiot.
He can't be the stoner and the jock.
Yeah. Anyways.
Oh, the athlete. Sorry. Also, I wrote, oh shit, his name is literally Guy.
It took me so long.
It took me halfway through the movie
to realize that his name was actually Guy. It took literally having his fucking name in brackets in the closed captions, signifying that Guy, the person with his name as Guy, is talking. And I was like, oh fuck.
I didn't realize that it was his
I literally thought it was like a term of endearment.
I did too.
Who the fuck names somebody Guy?
Who names somebody Guy? No one.
No one names them Guy.
Fictional writers name their characters Guy.
Like, he should have literally named Prisca Woman.
Honestly, at that point. They're just Eve, for all I fucking care if we want to make it some kind of...
You know what? If that had been the case, I'm so happy you named her Prisca, because if you had named her Eve...
It would have been over.
Forget about it.
I'd be like, shut up.
Fucking forget about it.
Shut
Mr.
up.
Shyamalan, shove it up your asshole. I literally did. I couldn't guess it, especially because she was so, like, French-Dutch. I was like, oh, he must be German?
That's fair. I think that's fair. Yeah, no, you're right.
I mean, if he had said something, like, in Spanish, like a cuss word or something,
you would have been,
then it would have been fine.
Yeah.
But, like, the fact that neither one of them ever spoken anything other than English, I was like, how am I supposed to know where the fuck they're from? Anyways, especially his name is Guy. Who names a Mexican guy Guy?
No one.
Bitch.
Hui.
Misdirection. As my favorite YouTuber would say.
Who says that?
Dylan is in trouble.
Oh.
That man is so fine.
He's cute. I do like him. He's stupid.
Man is so fine.
I need to find me stupid.
Bless him. He's from Minnesota, I think.
I need to find me somebody stupid that's, like, nice. Does that exist?
Yeah. I mean, it's supposed to.
It's me. I'm stupid and nice. Where's my stupid and nice? Fuck. And then I made a note. Why does he always play bad guys? I hope he's quite lovely in real life.
I really do too.
I hope he's a nice man.
I think he just has those eyes.
He just has everything.
He just looks evil.
Because isn't he the evil man from Practical Magic?
Yeah.
He's the evil ex-boyfriend?
Yeah. You know what? We're not going into it. We're not going into it. We're not going. We'll be sitting here. You know what? We're thirsty bitches. We're not thirsty bitches. God, he was so fine in that movie.
So hot.
They were all fine.
They were all gorgeous. Are you kidding me? Nicole Kidman with her
bro,
fiery red hair.
Dead ass. She could literally spit in my mouth that I would not care. If for anybody who knows, I don't like that.
Yeah, it's
but like
disgusting.
for her specifically in that movie, oh my god,
absolutely.
Oh my god.
Sandra Bullock with her thirsting ass to this man that she made up in her dreams.